Becoming Awesome with Peter D. Expand your consciousness. Welcome to Becoming Awesome. I'm Peter D. I help people expand consciousness. Now, this is the first episode of Becoming Awesome, and I want to introduce myself, but I'm going to wait until the end of the episode to do that, because I just hate it whenever I see a video or a podcast that's advertised about something, and then you have to wait 10 or 15 or 20 minutes before they get to what you're interested in. So stick around at the end and I'll talk to you about who I am, why I'm doing this. Right now, I want to talk about how it's in you. The days of gurus are over. The days of looking for answers outside have passed. It's now about what's inside us and how we can access the eternal greatness that the divine expresses through us, that we actually are. Now, too many people just give away their power in our culture. It's done with all the folks in the white coats, who are doctors and scientists and they know things. And it's done with all the people who wear their vestments because they're reverends and preachers, and you kind of need to go to them to reach God. And we do it with celebrities too. Oh, they're famous, they're rich, they know stuff. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't work that way anymore. We're leaving 3D, the duality of those folks know something and I'm insignificant, worthless, and I don't. And we're moving into 5D, where we're all going to be connecting into oneness. And we're all going to be touched with the notion that knowledge is ours. Divinity is ours. It's within me. So that's what I want to talk about, and I hope you'll join me for that ride today. The biggest thing to learn, to understand that you are an expression of God. You're a fractal of the universe that the divine is, which means that you are that part of the divine in your heart, in your soul. The biggest thing to understand is discernment, knowing that you know. And this is something we haven't been taught. We've been taught to do rote memorization in school when we grow up. We've been taught to give away our power to other people who are smarter, know better. You know how it is when you're kids. Be seen, but not heard. It's like you can't contribute to all that. So we're going to start to learn about discernment. And the biggest thing you can do is just learn how to muscle test yourself until you're able to actually just check in and know what truth is. Learn how to muscle test yourself. And the easiest way to do that is to start with the energetics. Start with the process of just taking a breath, getting a little relaxed, and then depending on what you're more in connect with, your gut or your heart, just notice how you feel. Then say your name. I'm Peter D. And when I say that, I get this warm little tickly fuzzle in my heart. Then say something that's not true. I'm Fred Flintstone. All of a sudden, I start to feel my extremities tight and I start to feel a little bit of clenching around my heart. If you start practicing saying what's true and feeling it, and then saying something that's obviously not true and feeling it, you'll notice more and more that when you're in the world and you're exposed with untruths, you'll notice that's not right, that's not for me. It's going to change everything. Politicians are no longer going to get away with the mass lying because we're moving into 5D and everybody's going to have these skills. But you need to start to practice and learn them if you want to partake of the benefit. So that's the easiest way. Say your true name, say your false name, notice the difference in feeling, practice that, and then bring it out in the world. The other way is to actually do a physical muscle test. And I've seen chiropractors and other practitioners, and they usually press on your arm. And I don't like standing up and leaning. I don't like pulling my fingers apart or checking the resistance on my fingernails. I just use my finger. And I just say, give me a sign for yes, it's usually strong. Give me a sign for no, it's usually weak. And then I ask whatever questions I'm going to ask. And I get the innate intelligence of my body. Because your body is 100 trillion conscious cells with a piece of the divine in each of them. Your body knows things. Now, this is different than dowsing or pendling, where you're asking an external source for information. This is you're asking your body. So you need to ask things that relate to your body. What I like doing is I like asking about food. like maybe 8 years ago, I just started a practice where whenever I eat anything, I ask my body, do you want this? And it would give me a yes or no. When I'm going through the grocery store aisles, I'm like, is this good for me? Is this bad for me? And I'd get a yes or no. And now it's kind of just automatic. I'm looking at an item and I can just tell because I've noticed the feeling in my heart or in my gut saying, yeah, not that one. Yeah, this one. So I'm always guided to what's better for me. Learn to trust your own ability. This is very important. I've been working recently with doctors and chiropractors who don't trust their own ability to muscle test themselves. They can do it on other people, but they don't trust it for themselves. And this is the thing we need to learn, that you are trustworthy, right? Those voices in your head talking to you, they're real. That's your intuition, your innate knowing, your divine. Or maybe it's your star friends, who knows? But they're real, and as the veils start to thin, because we're moving from 3D to 5D, we're all ascending our frequency, we're ascending our consciousness. That's what the move to 5D means, is we're at a higher frequency. We're going to start to know more, we're going to start to connect more. And I'm asking you to start to learn and listen to it. So that's the first thing I want to cover, is trust yourself more and start to practice, either by saying something true and false and noticing the difference, or just by muscle testing. And if you do it with what you eat, you're going to be doing it many times a day. You'll be getting a lot of practice, and you'll get good at it really, really quick. Because remember, we're moving into higher energies, so everything's going to come quicker and easier, because intent is king. Consciousness is king. You put your intent on it, you're going to see it. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is you can't have gurus anymore. You can't have the separation between you and the divine anymore. It's got to be in you if you truly want to express it. I mean, we're told we're made in the divine's image, but it's also like, well, I am a picture of the divine, or am I a copy of the divine, or maybe the divine's in me. And for years, a lot of organized groups have tried to keep you separate. I mean, I don't want to get into the idea that there's massive, wealthy, organized religions who systematically abuse children. I mean, that's coming to light. We know that's true. But there's this whole power thing, like, oh, you got to come to me. I know. I'm the power source. You're just nothing. I remember a lot of folks in my family are born-again Christians, and they go, Peter, do you believe that Jesus Christ is the only begotten Son of God? And I'd hear them and I think, the only begotten Son, so I'm just the bastard child? I mean, that's how it is. It's all this separation. From birth, we were told we were born dirty, that our great ancestors, the original ones, made a mistake. They decided they wanted to eat chocolate cake instead of their vegetables. No, excuse me. They decided they wanted to eat an apple when they were told not to. I mean, they were kids. They were new to the world. And we've been punished ever since then. Oh my God, I'm born dirty? And if I just suffer enough in my whole life, then I'll be able to go to the good place? I mean, that's what we're told, and that's to keep us powerless. And that's changing. We're moving out of the Kali Yuga, 26,000 year cycle that the Earth has been in that part of the galaxy that we've been passing through energetically on the great rotation, the great cycle that our galaxy makes. We're moving out of the Kali Yuga, which is called the Iron Age, when dark energies ruled, when it was like power and control. And we're moving into the Satya Yuga, the Golden Age of Gaia. And now we get to live knowing that we're in the divine. And so I'm asking you to take the step to do that. And that means no more gurus. No more anything that separates you from the divine. I love the movie The Life of Brian. Excuse me. I grew up knowing Monty Python, repeating all their things when I was in high school. That's how it was. In Life of Brian, there's a scene where he gets up in the morning and he opens up the windows to look out on the world, and there's his followers who think he's Christ, okay? And so he doesn't want any of that. So he picks up his shoe and he throws it at them. He throws them, and this one guy gets hit by the shoe, and he goes, "It's the holy sandal, it's the holy shoe. I've been hit with it." And so everybody else starts taking their shoes off and throwing them at each other, and everybody's hitting themselves on the head. I mean, it was just really hilarious. I've been hit with the holy shoe. And I always thought that was kind of crazy until I saw it happen in real life. And this was just wild. I was at the Oneness Temple, Oneness University near Chennai, India, and this place is magnificent. Oh my gosh, the incredible structure they built. It's alive and it's conscious, and there's so many beautiful monks there to help you. And I'm taking a month-long class. I'm with 700 or 800 people from around the world, and every day we're in this temple in class. And the lead teacher, Kumarji, just this fabulous, fabulous fellow, comes out every morning, and the first thing he does is he connects with his divine. And his process of connecting with the divine would go, get out there, get on your knees, go like this, put your hands above your head, pull them down over your heart, and then bow down and prostrate. And that's how he would pray every morning. Now, unlike most of the people in the class, we're fighting to get seats up front so they could be close to the action, closer to the altar, closer to God, right? I was sitting in the back, mainly because I like to watch what goes on in audiences. And there were several, I'm not kidding you, several awakened, fully enlightened monks who just would hang out in the back. And when they weren't on their cell phones or doing whatever they were doing, they were just using their expanded consciousness to check out the groups of people and the individuals and tweaking here and there little mental energetic transmissions to help. I'm like, I'm going to sit by those guys. I don't need to be up front. I want to be by the enlightened ones, okay? So anyway, I'm watching this, and every day Kumarji would come out, put his hands above his head, and pull them down in front of him, and then lay down and prostrate and pray. And I noticed that after a couple of days, some of the people up front would do that. And then after 3 or 4 days, more people did it. And then by the end of a week, like the whole front third of the people in the class were doing it. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, almost every single person in the class would start their day by joining in Kumarji and putting their hands above their head and pulling it down over their heart and then laying prostrate. Now there's nothing wrong with emulating what you like, seeing something you like and say, hey, I want to do that. I mean, that's how we learn, okay? And there's nothing wrong with participating in group consciousness, saying, hey, this is a beautiful group. I want to join it, and I want to experience part of the pleasure of being in this group. But I was watching it every day, and I realized, oh my God, they've been hit with the holy shoe. What was nothing at the beginning of this class suddenly became a thing, and this became the way to worship, and this became the way to pray, and this is the way to express yourself and become one with God. And I'm like, holy cow, I witnessed the holy shoe in real time. It was hilarious. I got to tell you, it was really funny to watch that go on. And I'm trying to tell you that we're in a culture now where we've been trained to do that. We've been trained since birth. You don't know the celebrities, the expert talking heads on TV, all those people who kind of learned and are special. They know. Turn to them for the answers. And of course, this is a funneled control system that leads up to the 1% at the top that are just basically sucking us dry and living off of us like energetic vampires. I mean, let's face it, when you see the truth, that's what's going on. We've been told not to trust ourselves. And I'm here to tell you, trust yourself. I remember I used to do a lot of tobacco prevention work, and I would expose the media behind tobacco ads. And they would sit there and they'd have all these rebellious cowboys and women that were empowered. And they're telling you, look, you're going to become empowered. You're going to rebel. And that's why you smoke. And of course, gullible teenagers were like, oh yeah, I'm going to trade one master for another. My parents don't understand me. The school doesn't understand me. I don't want to do what they say. I'm going to prove that I'm different. Oh, here, I'll do what somebody else says. I'll just smoke addictive poison, and that'll show everybody how independent I am. It was great. It addicted a whole generation, killed many, many people. And we still, to our day, our government gives them tax deductions for attacking children that way. You know, that's how insane the world we live in is. We've been trained to think that we're stepping out in the world by giving up one master, but then there's another master ready to take on the yoke. And don't let yourself do that. I remember once I was listening to Ramtha. I was at the Ramtha School of Enlightenment for a while. And he was talking about how, we get these crises in our life and everything's falling apart. And we go see a counselor and we see our therapist and we start to talk about how it's all breaking down and everything. And the therapist gives us a safe place to break down. The problem is that when we're done breaking down, instead of going to your divine and saying, okay, fill me up with something auspicious, I'm ready for the unknown, I'm ready for something new, the therapist tries to rebuild them in the proper image. Oh, this is what the textbooks say, or this is how a healthy person acts. And so even at that level in our society, we're getting replaced one guru with another. And I'm here to tell you that this is the time of awakening. This is the time of becoming more. And to do that, you've got to trust your own answers. And they might be different. It might mean change in relationships. It might mean change in jobs. It might mean that what you knew no longer applies. You got to do something different. Are you ready? Living in the unknown, the adventure. That's where I'm going. Heck, I'm doing this podcast, and just a month ago, I didn't even consider something like this. And now the calling has been very strong, and here I am sharing this wisdom with you. Now, there's a lot of folks on the internet who are giving all kinds of awakening and ascension advice, and I love watching them. Oh, I subscribe to many YouTube channels and listen to a lot of teachers, and I love that. And I just want to put a word of caution in, because some of them, not all of them, in fact, only a few, but you need to be aware, are falling into the guru trap. Like I used to do when I was in college. Oh, I know answers. Come to me. I'm the answer man. And I've seen people ask mundane questions. Oh, what should I eat to help this? And how should I go about this? And instead of saying, look, you know the answers inside with you. You should learn how to access those answers inside of you. Instead of giving those kinds of answers, they're like giving them, oh, eat this, do that, do this. And I'm like, no, that's just changing one guru for another. And I don't blame the people for doing that. They know their experience and they're sharing that, and that's really good. But I'm going to have a call to everybody on the internet who does spiritual teaching. Is your first answer directing the individual towards finding their way within? Knowing that they have the knowledge, they're already healthy, they don't need a healer. Now, the healer may help them see that they're already healthy, but the reality is that they hold that blueprint somewhere in their being. Are you willing to be powerful enough to hold the blueprint that you're already healthy? Are you willing to start to accept that you're awesome and that information and knowledge, the whole universe, the Da'at, I've heard it called, the Akashic Records, I've heard it called, all that information is available to you now? I'd like to teach you some tips that I found were useful to get you there. That's why I'm doing these podcasts. And I'm asking the people who do the other teachers out there on the internet, I'm asking them to just understand it's an easy trap to fall into, to replace one guru with another. And let's not do that. We're all better than that. All right. Having said that, guess what? I'm on YouTube. I've got a podcast. The way the AI computer system matrix that we live in right now works is that we need subscribers. That's the way the computer says, oh, this is video worth showing to other people. So I'm going to ask you, if you're watching me on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on a podcast, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to this, please. On Facebook, give me a like. I need to play that game because that's the game we have to all play until we get somewhere else. Now, I'm not charging anything for these videos. I would like to ask for your support and a donation so that I can expand this and really get it out there. But whether or not that happens, I'm living my truth by expressing to you, and it requires we play the game of likes and subscribe. So if you feel called, please do that. And I respect that everybody else on the internet is doing that as well. Just be wary of those that are doing it because that's their livelihood and their income. And just be sure that they're doing it from the place of empowering you, not the place of keeping you as one of their followers. All right, that's what I have to share as far as the main point of today's teachings, that it's in you. It's been you all along, and you have that. So let me introduce myself. My full name is Peter D. Benedictus. I actually have a PhD in speech communication from the Pennsylvania State University. So, I'm a learned guy. And in my learnings, the things I was able to do best was research and synthesize. I'm really, really good at taking complex ideas and making them simple, presenting them in a way that's just simple and easy for people to understand. And so that's what I do. And what I'm going to offer you is synthesis. Now, in my own spiritual practice, I've been able to grow quite close to my divine. I have very, very nice connections that are opening up to all kinds of extra dimensional guides, the angelic realm. ETs have been talking to me. It's wild. So I'm going to share that with you. But I'm not like some of the people who only sit there and say, no, I don't listen to anybody else because I just get my source from somebody and it's that pure information. And I respect that, except I think that that's, why eat chocolate all the time when you can have vanilla or Rocky Road or cherries on top sometime? So I like to do it all. And what I do is I listen and I synthesize and I present based on that. My own understanding of what I've tried and applied in my life, what my internal guidance is offering to you. That's what I'm going to give to you. Now, for the past 25 years, I've taught media literacy education. I've written the Alcohol Literacy Challenge. It's a very cool youth prevention program. I'll put a link below or on my podcast site. And the reality is that 90% of everything good that happens when you drink is mental. It's a placebo effect. There is no relaxation or looseness or sociability or friendship or sexiness or awesomeness or courage that comes from drinking alcohol. You just get a buzz at 0.05 BAC, and after that you're just wasting alcohol because the buzz diminishes. That's all it does, is give you a slight sense of euphoria at 0.05 BAC. And once students learn that all this other stuff is just mental, they drink less. It's kind of cool. So we had all this advertising teaching us that, hey, look, if I drink this, I'll be cool. I'll get laid. And, once students realize, wow, you mean I can just go get laid? They're empowered. They don't have to drink anymore. So it's quite nice that we've learned that we have these abilities. So that's what I teach students. When I hit my midlife crisis, I ran for governor of New Mexico. I did that in the 2016 cycle. That was really fun. I knew I wasn't going to win, but it was really just an awesome trip to get up on all the debates and all the stump speeches and stand next to the candidates and the eventual governor and go, bullshit, bullshit, Boy, did I make a lot of enemies. People hated me by doing that. But it was kind of my expression at the time, and I was really glad to do that. Just to let you know that you can be fearless if you want to, or be afraid and still do it, because I was afraid, terrified many times and still did it. And we're getting to the place where discernment is going to be key. And so this is going to happen across the entire culture. We're going to start seeing when politicians are feeding us the lies. But I got to that a little early and did it in my own unique way and flamed out beautifully. Spiritually, during the 80s and 90s, I practiced right use of will, a whole series of books by Sandy Rion. And it was just really having to go in and finding charges and held emotions and really letting that out. It was quite nice. It was quite nice to get that kind of release because, I was raised in an abusive family. I had, the sex abuse and all that stuff happen to me. So I understand what a lot of people are going through because many of us, we had that. And I don't regret it now. I did before. I don't regret it now because it led me to this beautiful place that I am and this beautiful person that I am. And it gives me the experience to share with you, which is kind of cool. So there was that in my life. I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1995, and I've lived here ever since. I attended the Ramtha School of Enlightenment for a while. That was like going to Hogwarts, it really was, except in a horse barn. And it was just amazing. Just the stuff I learned there was quite nice. I don't agree with all of it. I don't like some of the teaching methods, but it really expanded me. I mean, imagine what it's like to hit a bullseye with a bow and arrow, blindfolded at 50 yards. Once you do something like that, you can realize you can do anything. So I'm grateful for that experience, and that influenced me. I was in the Blue College there for a while. Around 2011, I started going to Oneness University in India at the amazing Oneness Temple. Oh my gosh, it's 4 times the size of the Taj Mahal, and it's just gorgeous, wonderful place energetically. And I went there for a month a year for like 5 years, and gosh, I learned a lot. I got a lot of gifts. And I love their teachings because they said, look, the bottom line is you need to find your own God, create your own God, and really become one with it. And so it really resonated with me. So that's what I've had to offer. Here in New Mexico, I've taught, I lost count of how many spiritual classes I've taught, and I've conducted mass meditations to help raise the frequency in folks by consciousness transmission. And thousands of people have attended these meditations I organized. Now I teach online classes on Course in Wonders, how to become wonderful. So now you know about me. I'd like to know a little bit about you. Please share in the comments section or on my website. My website is becomingawesome.podbean.com. becomingawesome.podbean.com. And let me know a little about you and tell me topics you're interested in, and I'll share what I can share. There's 2 episodes a week. On every Monday, we're going to get tools and tips, and every Thursday, you're going to hear an interview with somebody who's actively becoming awesome. Thank you so much. You honor me by allowing me to speak my truth. And it's not like you allowed me. I'm just learning I can do that, but you honor me by attending and watching this podcast. If there's anything useful, share it, please. Please share it. And please subscribe. Like me on Facebook. Go ahead and subscribe to the audio of the podcast feed or to the channel here on YouTube. That'll help the algorithm. More people will hear the word, and we'll have a bigger and bigger community of everybody taking off the shackles of 3D and moving into becoming awesome. I know it's a rough time right now because everything that's been suppressed is coming up. Here's some tools and tips to help you with that. That's what I tried to give you today. Discernment, muscle testing, and becoming awesome. You don't need the gurus anymore. You got this one. Love. My heart to yours. Stay blessed.